And I call the General Committee meeting to order for September 25th, 2024. Welcome to Barrie City Council. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. For the consent items, I'll read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda. Members of General Committee may ask that an item be held to discuss it further. If an item is not held, the motions deemed to be approved on consent. No further discussion of the item will take place at the General Committee meeting, and the recommended motions will go forward to the City Council meeting for consideration. Before we get into the actual items themselves, we're going to go through the reports of the advisory committees. And we're going to start with 5.1, the report of the Affordability Committee from the 14th of August, 2024. That's to be received following Councillor Nixon's comments and summary. So Councillor Nixon, over to you for the August 14th meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. August 14th, the Affordability Committee meeting began at 6 p.m. Present were all members of the Affordability Committee, plus the rest of Council was also here, including, or I should say in addition, a dozen or so staff members. The Affordability Committee met for the purpose of 3 public meetings. First one was application for a zoning bylaw amendment at 242 Edge Hill Drive, Barrie in Ward 5. Greg Barker of Innovative Planning Solutions gave a presentation on the proposed project. And then Rachel Mulholland, a planner from the Development Services Department, provided an update concerning the application status. There were no comments from members of council, and no verbal comments were provided from those in attendance, as well as no written correspondence. The second presentation was regarding an application for an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment at 126, 136, and 140 Bradford Street, Barrie in Ward 2. Kevin Bichard of Innovative Planning Solutions advised the purpose of the public meeting was to review an application for proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Mr. Bichard put a presentation on, had a slide presentation, which was followed by Logan Jeffermans, planner from the Development Services Department, who provided an update concerning the application's status. We had verbal comments from 6 residents in attendance, and written correspondence from 1 resident. The third presentation was regarding an application for a zoning bylaw amendment and red line revision to a draft approved plan of subdivision at 124, 180 and 228 McKay Road West, Barrie in Ward 7, where Ray Duhamel of Jones Consulting Group advised that the purpose of the public meeting was to review an application for proposed zoning bylaw and red line revision. Mr. Duhamel put on a slide presentation concerning the project, which was followed by Tyler Butler, planner from the Development Services Department, who provided an update concerning the application's status. We had verbal comments from 1 resident and no written comments. Councillor Harvey had some questions of Mr. Duhamel and received responses. We also was regarding the report of the Heritage Barrie Committee dated June 25th, 24. The report of the Heritage Barrie Committee dated June 25th, 24 was received. That was section B. Section C was regarding a recruitment of a heritage planner. The staff in the Development Services Department submit an intake form for the 2025 budget for the recruitment of a heritage planner, and that matter did not carry, was lost. The meeting adjourned at 8:02 p.m.
Thank you, Chair Nixon, for the update. Now, I believe there's a second meeting for the September 18th that is also to be received, so we'll consider 5.1 received. Now we need an update on 5.2.
Okay. The Affordability Committee met September 18th. We had all members of the Affordability Committee. We had 5 members of council, and it looks like about 15 staff were also present. The Affordability Committee met for the purpose of 3 public meetings at 6:11 p.m. The first Item on the agenda was an application for zoning bylaw amendment regarding 196 and 202 Dunlop Street West in Ward 2. Nick Scarrett, representative from Innovative Planning Solutions, advised that the purpose of the public meeting was to review an application for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Mr. Scarrett also presented a slide presentation regarding the proposed project, I should say. That was followed by Tyler Butler, planner from the Development Services Department, who provided an update concerning the application status. We had verbal comments from one resident, and that was followed by another presentation from Mr. Scarrett from Innovative Planning Solutions regarding a zoning bylaw amendment to 204 Dunlop Street West in Ward 2. Mr. Scarrett also provided us with a slide presentation concerning several topics. That was followed by Tyler Butler, planner from the Development Services Department, who provided an update concerning the application status. The third item was regarding an application for zoning bylaw amendment and draft plan of subdivision 830, 864, and 912 Lockhart Road in Ward 10. We first heard from Mr. Ray Duhamel, representative from the Jones Consulting Group, who advised that the purpose of the public meeting was to review an application for proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Mr. Duhamel also presented a slide presentation regarding the proposal, which was followed by Logan Jeffermans, planner for the Development Services Department, who provided an update concerning the application status. We had verbal comments from one resident, and the meeting was adjourned at 7:09 p.m.
Thank you, Councillor Nixon, for that update. You don't have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, perfect. We're going to move on to 5.3, which is a report of the Finance and Responsible Governance Committee dated September 18th. Councillor Harvey, can you please provide an update for the meeting?
It's not going on. There we go, finally. Yeah, thank you, Mayor Nuttall. So on the 25th of September, Finance and Responsible Governance Committee met. All 4 members of committee were present, along with 5 other members of council and 15 staff. On that particular date, we had 2 open delegations, and prior to that, we also received the report of the investment board. With the 2 public delegations, it was first from Isabel Percasio from the Rinamato Group in regards to lands that they own at 80 Big Bay Point Road, with a request to delay development charges to occupancy dates, along with an open delegation from Sean Mason from Sean Mason Homes in regards to delaying development charges for 45 days due to a clerical issue. So out of those 2 delegations, the following recommendations came out, that for the 80 Big Bay Point property, which is a 25-acre parcel that will take many, many years to develop, deferral of development charges to the occupancy dates for a period of 5 years, with the standard interest being applied at the 3-year mark. And for the Sean Mason Homes property at 339 Veterans Drive, that an extension of the frozen development charge rates for 45 days due to a clerical issue that was identified on the company's part. The last item that we dealt with that was accepted on consent was in regards to committee travel policy for the International Relations Committee to follow the same travel provisions in reimbursement that we as council members have. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the update. And I'm going to go, before we go into the actual motions, I'm just going to skip forward to 5.4 and 5.5, and that is the Fire Chief Recruitment Committee for August 19th and September 13th to be received. Deputy Mayor, you were the chair of that committee, I believe?
It was actually, there was 3 members of council there. There was no designated chair. It was just a collaborated effort by all 3. and it was Councillor Jim Harris and Councillor Kungle and myself.
And I would guess that most of those meetings were confidential in nature, and so they happened and are received.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. More to come. We're going to go into the hold and approve now. FRG1, which is the 80 Big Bay Point Road, Renamato property.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Kungle. FRG2, 339 Veterans Drive. That's approved on consent. FRG3, Committee Travel Policy. It's approved on consent. FCR 003-24.
Hold.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. DEV 038-24. Zoning bylaw amendment application for 242 Edge Hill Drive in Ward 5 is approved. DEV 039-24, the Housing Implementation Plan, Housing Accelerator Fund Work Plan.
Hold.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. LGL 004-24. It's approved on consent. WME S02-24, updated waste collection services guidelines for ICI and multi-res.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. And just going to take a quick second here. Sorry, could I have somebody hold LGL 004-24, please?
I'll hold.
Held by Councillor Kungle. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to work through, we have one confidential, two confidential items. The first one I believe we can deal with in public, which is the personal information matter that the Director of Human Resources undertake the direction provided by the Fire Chief Recruitment Committee at their meeting of September 13th, 2024. Deputy Mayor Thompson, I believe you have an amendment.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed and add to the following paragraph that the preferred candidate identified in the minutes of the Fire Chief Recruitment Committee dated September 13, 2024, be appointed as fire chief in light of their acceptance of the conditional offer of employment, and that the city clerk prepare an appropriate bylaw for the new fire chief for consideration at the October 2nd, 2024 council meeting.
So that amendment's on the floor. Are there any comments or questions with regards to the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor? It carries. We'll now go to FRG1, 80 Big Bay Point Road, which I skipped by accident. So Councillor Kungle, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I have, well, I'll present the motion as presented with an amendment, and I can speak to that. So as stated, we're looking to add some additional language. I think that is aligned to the conversation at Finance and Responsible Governance in order to ensure that the timelines we're putting in around the 5 years of the agreement, and then looking at standard interest charges being applied 3 years after, we're going to qualify that a little bit. So the amendment now reads as follows, that the City of Barrie enter into a Section 27 development charge agreement for a period of 5 years with the Renamato Group of companies 2740271 Ontario Inc. The additional language is in order to defer payment of development charges to time of occupancy instead of issuance of building permits with standard interest charges being applied 3 years after. This is the new language. Issuance of building permits for their property at 80 Big Boy Point Road, and that the agreement be executed by the mayor and city clerk on such terms and in a form acceptable to the chief financial officer and director of legal services.
Thank you, Councillor Kungle. As you were the mover of the motion and the person who is moving the amendment, I can assume that that's a friendly, and we're going to take one vote on the matter. So that's the motion which is already adopted on the floor. Are there any questions or comments with regards to the amendment with FRG1? Seeing none, all those in favor, it carries, and we're going to move on to our next item, which is DEV 039-24. This is the Housing Implementation Plan, Housing Accelerator Fund. This was held by Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment. As amended, to convert the senior planner to a 1.5 with the additional adjacent cost of approximately $114,000 for 2 years period beginning in 2025, and then included in the paragraph that includes allocating $250,000 as a grant to support Barrie Community Builders Reframe Program, which offers hands-on skills development, networking, and paths to enhance careers, offering 3 months of rigorous training in residential construction to skilled trade workers who encounter employment, and I can speak to that.
Floor is yours.
So the first thing is, it's just a reallocation.
I'm sorry, Councillor, I missed your hand there. Feel free.
Yeah,
Yeah, just your mic there.
my apologies, I thought those were going to be separated. Okay, so I do have to claim, I'd like to declare a potential pecuniary interest as I have an immediate family member that may potentially benefit from funding through this program.
Madam Clerk, is the conflict noted?
Yes, Mayor Nuttall.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councillor. And back to you, Deputy Mayor.
So the first part of this amendment is actually just reallocating some of the costs in the staffing report of Appendix D. And so that's all it is. It's just a reallocation of where the funding will come from. And then the second part is it's a program that we were asked to support in a grant form. And when you really think about it, this is exactly, some of the things that the allocation tool should do. We're in a housing crisis, and there's lots of challenges that are contributing to it, and one of them is labor. And the more we can, get skilled laborers trained and in the housing, hopefully it pays dividends in building us houses. So that's why the amendment's on the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions or comments with the two items? Yes, Councillor Kungle.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Just a comment. Happy to see that this is moving forward. For those that might not be familiar with community builders, they're a social enterprise that are operating and expanding. They've been doing really progressive work around both employment, but then training into employment and sustainable jobs. So great to see that this aligns to our strategy, but then also we're looking locally at an opportunity to, I think, invest where they're making impactful change.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Wonderful. Certainly support this. Was at their launch of this reframe. Was wonderful to talk to the young people who were able to see like the hope and opportunity of a trade in many times not necessarily having a completely stable situation when they started that, and the benefit to those individuals just from a socioeconomic side, I think, is incredible. There's 700,000 people who are leaving the trades, I believe, in Ontario over the next 10 years. We don't have a solid plan for that. I don't think this donation is going to solve that, but I think it does highlight where we do need to see some funding and placed. And this is exactly what the Housing Accelerator Fund, as Deputy Mayor Thompson said, was intended for. We even went a step further to go back to the feds and say, does this make sense? They've given us the nod. And so we're, I think, really happy to be able to partner with a local social enterprise that's mentoring young people into a successful life. And Brandon and his team do great work, and it's wonderful to be able to be there with them on it. We have lots of money that we've put into the CIP to support developers. This is the opposite, trying to find some folks to work inside of home building, and I think it has some great opportunity. With that, let's call the vote. All those in favor? And it's approved. So on the main motion as amended, comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's approved. We're going to go to WMES 02-24, the updated waste collection services guidelines for ICI and multi-residential properties. Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor, and maybe I'll just give a minute so Councillor Courser can rejoin. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed. I don't have an amendment. I actually have a request if possible. I'm looking for some more options or information, and I don't know how I would go about that unless it's just a conversation. If we could get some more information and options pertaining to the 1 to 5 unit, multi-unit residential. And so, like I said, I don't want to try to do anything on the floor. I said it doesn't look good that way, and I think we can miss things. So just giving the opportunity before council of next week, if we could get some options to look at that, just the charts and stuff like that. I think there's some opportunities here. So if that's possible, Mayor Nuttall, to get some information, Ms. Clerk, Madam Clerk, do I need to put a motion to request that, or staff can take direction in that sense? Good. Yeah, that's all.
Other questions or comments? Councillor Courser.
Thank you. I read through the report. It was pretty intense, and thank you to staff for putting that together. I know it was pretty complicated, a lot of moving parts. I do have a question, if it hasn't been asked, regarding the transfer of, if I missed it, I apologize, the transfer of the green bin. What happens to the green bins that we currently have? Whose responsibility is that to take those? Are they recycled? Do they go back to what entity? Where do they go after we switch to the new bins? And I suppose I'd be directing that to staff.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Courser. We're actually working on a two-part plan, and it's a great question. I'm sure it will come up. A great key message on this is that the first message on the old green bins will be, let's see if you can repurpose it. So is there something that you can store in it that you'd like to keep the green bin, at your home to reuse? The second part of the plan will be a take-back program. So I know our team at the Environmental Center is working on a take-back program where we will find a home to recycle or repurpose those bins should a resident not wish to keep it at their home.
Okay, sorry, through you, Mayor Nuttall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Courser. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Kungle.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. And my apologies, Ms. Mack, this is going to be an on-the-fly piece, and I could have missed it in the report. I'm just thinking, while this is a province-wide approach, are there, as part of that, I'm assuming there could be the potential to investigate if there's an out-of-province similar program that we could either transfer these resources to if it's cost effective or makes sense. I'm not even sure if that's effective, but I keep thinking, well, this will be an Ontario blanket. Is there another province that had a similar program to ours currently that might want some of those assets for any reason? Maybe not.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Kungle, that is a really interesting idea, and it is one we have discussed as a team, especially as we understand that green bin programs, perhaps not using the carts, are rolling out across even our province. And so we are in touch with other municipalities. I guess a little bit of the issue is that the old ones are branded with the city's logo. However, on ones that we will be ordering now, we have looked into getting those not branded, so perhaps being able to find a home for those.
Thank you and appreciate it. I know that's no small project that you're managing, but do appreciate all the communications that you continue to make available to us.
Councillor Rittma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think just following up on the Deputy Mayor's request, I'm just concerned about the BIA and how we're handling or thinking about handling waste there. And I would like to have staff, if they would give us a memo of some sort in terms of what alternatives are available to us there, because I'm not sure that what we're looking at now is really going to be effective. So that's just a comment that I'd like to make, and if you could get back to us next time, that would be great.
If I can take that, if it's okay, Councillor Rittma. Yes, the conversation is happening internally on making sure that whatever fits downtown is going to work. There is going to be either a presentation memo back at some point, and I think that those conversations with the BIA will continue to make sure that it's done in a way that makes sense, and that may be different in different parts of the downtown core. So I think, Ms. Mack, you've been able to take that information over the last few days as well, and we have about, what do we have, 11 months to get it right. So, okay, is that okay with you, or is that?
No, that's great. That's exactly what we need to do. I think we definitely have to get it right, and the downtown area is pretty unique, so it'll need a unique solution.
Certainly is. Thank you. And any other questions or comments from members of committee? Seeing none on the main motion, all in favor? It carries. We're going to jump into the inquiries and announcements and finish out our public portion of the meeting before we go into the confidential. Oh, we're going to do them at council. We're not going to jump into those at all. So we're going to do the circulation list, which is what I meant earlier. And August 21st, are there any items from August 21st? And August 28th, September 4th, September 11th, September 18th, and September 25th. Okay, so there's no items on the circulation list, and so we will take our meeting to the Sir Robert Barrie room to discuss the in-camera item, which again is LGL 004-24. And following completion of our meeting in the Sir Robert Barrie room, we will be coming back to the council chambers for our city council meeting this evening to ratify a number of